Never mind. I just had me walk into the lab. Of course, I'm the person that leads us all anyway when we're walking through, just to make it much easier. But we end up coming into the lab, going downstairs and boom, into the sectional. And the professor shows us, brings us back into, past this room. We come down to another secret room, which is like this. And it has like this type of teleporter thing and this thing kind of that just you know what I mean? It sits there and all that. And these are like there too, but they're like scroll type things. They can be there or they can't be. Okay, but mainly the thing that happens is there's it's like a teleporter. Okay, mainly it's like a teleporter. My hair itchy sometimes. No lice in mine. It's like, no, I quit. That's shady because I'd be swole. You know what I mean? And no one's hair is safe for real. But I just wanted to say that just to say something that's off the wall. But there's like the teleporter and all this stuff and everything, okay? Now, all the assistants, they got through it, and they were able to go through it because of Alakazam. But what ends up happening is Alakazam, since he used his power on getting the professor to kinesis and be able to see me and the other grandchildren, he lost a lot of power, and of course he's exhausted. Okay, his power. I mean, he's not injured or taking the attack or a door, but his power point. You know what I mean? His power moves, his PP, is exhausted. So he has to take a rest. He has to recharge again. So in that instance, some of the assistants are trapped in there. And some of them are out here. So the professor some of them start panicking because we get downstairs and we can't go through. And they start panicking. Okay? It's like, what's going on? Like, Alakazam should have us in there. Of course, the assistant's like, I'm so sorry, Alakazam. He's exhausted right now. He's been using so much power and he's been helping so much, including from the power and the endurance from taking care of Mew. It has exhausted him. He's like, the professor's like, oh, but we're so close. We're there right now. And then the professor's just like, I wonder. And he goes into his pockets. He pulls out this heart scale. And he pulls out the green shard and the red shard. And he's like, And then he, of course, as soon as he does, it just glows. Of course, starts glowing and flashing because it's around me. But he doesn't first realize it until he steps near me, and then it starts glowing and all that stuff. And he's like, Stefan, I think you should grab this and walk. He's like, you grab this, you hold this. And I start grabbing it, and I hold it, and it just starts sinking. And I just like that, practically coughing. And I'm like, I'm like, I pass out. I wake up, I come back to. And then he's like I come back too, but the heart scale and the green shard and the red pink shard practically disappear. So they're like, he's like, what the hell? Practically, you know what I mean? If it was Adult Swim, it'd be awesome. Like, what the hell? Where'd it go? He's grabbing me like he's gonna kill me. Where'd it go? So, the professor's a thug on the low too. Everybody in this region is practically thugs mainly. Johto also kind of, but we'll get to that. Now, On the main concept, sounds wild, but you don't want to know. It's like, nah, I'm just making noises. But on the wild concept, I come to, like, after the professor grabs me, I grab a hold of this machine teleporter and it starts glowing. It's like, and then the system just flashes on and it says, initial, like, you know, practically like, it's like DNA. DNA is a match. DNA is a match. DNA is a match. DNA is a match. And then it's funny as hell, like, out of nowhere it says DNA is a match, and then a hack happens to their computer, and the biggest hack that ends up happening is ditto. So it's like ditto, 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 and it's showing ditto like with the pose just moving like ditto, ditto, ditto. It's so funny. So it's like that ends up happening, and then one of the sisters is like, oh, that's my fault. Like, then one guy's like, oh man. One other assistant is like, oh my goodness, don't tell me you start downloading that stuff again. He's like, well, I can't help it. And then he's like, oh my goodness, man. Oh man, the children are around. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of funny. So it like refrains from what they really want to say in statement of what he was watching, like what one of the assistants was watching. And then, of course, the black sunglasses guy comes down and he comes out, of course, and he's like, that's a little bit after. I shouldn't even get to that concept yet. But of course, it's like sitting there for like at least a good 2 minutes while everybody's like sitting there talking and arguing. Ditto, ditto, ditto. So like the whole time they're arguing and all that, like it's just like ditto, ditto, ditto. So it's like comical at the same time. Like there's gonna be a lot of live action. Hopefully, like if they do develop it, like there'll be spontaneous scenes. Like, you know what I mean? Assistants are still walking around in the background and doing stuff, you know, scattering and all that stuff while they're talking. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not just a one set. No, you know what I mean? The action is continuous. Like, you know what I mean? There's people that are moving around doing stuff. You know, it doesn't stop. You know, there's no freeze frames. You know, everything doesn't stop. Like, you know, assistants are still moving around doing what they normally do and all that stuff. So, you know what I mean? And there could be some female assistants too. You know, spice it up a bit. But there's mainly male ones. There's like only like a handful of females. Like literally. You know what I mean? There's like 10 females and like 50 males. So you know how real it is. There's more than there can be more than that, because how much you're like when there's more information needed, when there's more Pokemon and all that stuff, you'll see. There's like a whole bunch of them. But mainly that ends up happening, and then the professor's like, wait a minute, everybody calm down. Stefan, I'm gonna need you to put your hands on the teleporter. And of course, in this instance, I put my hands on the teleporter, and out of nowhere, the Ditto hack ends up stopping and it says, DNA is a match. 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 No. It ends up being super confusing. Now, everybody's like confused in the same sense. They don't understand why it's doing that. And we don't know why it's doing that. But the thing that ended up happening that no one didn't know that has happened was when we were on our way coming back from the route, hopping down and all that stuff, coming to the lab, Mew was watching us. Mew ends up following us. And Mew is still watching. So in that sense, that ends up happening. And then Mew does extensatory again. But when Mew does it so fast because it's extensatory. No one doesn't see Mew. So I don't know how they'll pull it off, but I mean, Mew can just do it in a sense like everybody's talking and turned around and looking away. And then Mew just, you know what I mean? Mew ends up touching my head. And, of course, the pink, you know what I mean? Touching me because of the pink shard, it like attracts her when it's in my hand. And, of course, it attracted her in the first place because the professor and everybody had it. And they were holding it. So ever since they all had it, Mew was around. Well, Mew was on its way, coming around. And Mew finally got there. Alakazam sent her real far. Because it's a legendary, oh yeah. But I preferably like to pronounce and know Mew is a girl. But can't say that because Mew created both genders in the same sense. But there's a Pokemon that created the universe also that I should say, you know, that practically also like overwhelms Mew. But I feel like Mew probably turned into, well, like the first Mew turned into this Pokemon. And then it just continued. From that sense though, it ends up happening and ends up, when that extensatory ends up happening, the portal ends up opening again, and it's like, oh, it's a breakthrough. You know what I mean? The professor's like, it's a breakthrough, and then, you know, one of the assistants is like, let me see. Boom. Of course, makes a mistake, falls, and drops paperwork. And then the professor looks back and is like, I think you should clean that up. He's like, right. It's so... And then the others are just looking at him like, we'll get to it too. But we end up going through